You better start here. This is it. I'm coming.
I think we just started right there. She's coming out.
There it is.
I'm already scared. Like, we just started right here. Oh my gosh. Okay. If you haven't figured out there already, we've got one of the most iconic horror movies there is out there on our list tonight. It is The Ring.
Oh, I've got a lot of great stories about this one today. I'm excited.
You make a pretty good Ring girl, like coming out of the screen.
I know. You mess up my hair just a little more. Like,
Yeah.
I need it like dripping, you know?
Yeah, I love that. There it is. There it is.
It's pretty good.
Look, tonight we do have two movies. Tonight, whenever you're listening to this, we got two movies that will make you throw your TV in a dumpster and lock up your Ouija boards. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what these two will do. Basically, the first movie we have is The Ring. It's the movie that made VHS tapes scarier than Uncle Larry's collection that you saw at his house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the marketing tactics was one of my favorite things to research. Because remember when we did the Witch Movie Project last year and we talked about marketing the strategies of the Blair Witch Project and how that was such a big part of how the success of that movie and how people became aware of it. But I loved reading about how they had, for The Ring, they had left videotapes of the Samara's video at like college campuses.
Yeah, DreamWorks went on a marketing spree there with some guerrilla marketing. Really, that's some you know, I love that kind of stuff. But that is the first movie that we're going to talk about, and then we're going to slide into Talk to Me, the Australian flick that proves teenagers will literally do anything for clout.
Right.
They will, right? Including letting demons basically take their body over like a Airbnb. Like, that's what it is. Like, they're moving in. So basically, you got the movie that, and I'm going to make a controversial statement here. Netflix did not put Blockbuster out of business. The Ring did. That's why people don't go rent the movies anymore in the VHS. Am I onto something here? I think so, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have a story about this. So when I first saw The Ring in high school, watched it with my boyfriend, who is now my husband. And back then we loved, not only like we would go to the movies for a date, but then we would be like, all right, so what is there to do in a small town? Let's go to rent a movie.
Yeah.
So we headed over to the, I don't know, it was like Hollywood Video or something in our small town. We didn't have a Blockbuster, but they had big old TVs, like still like the old-fashioned thick on the wall, you know, and they would play movies all day in the rental movie place. So I remember we had just seen the movie. I was still coming down from it a little bit. I was still like, that movie, and I was still kind of like processing in my head why it was so scary and analyzing it and, you know, doing what I love to do, picking it apart. And we're standing there and we go, you know, we're standing there picking out movies, and no joke, all the video TVs in the whole place just went to snow. All at once.
Yeah.
We're standing there and it just went, and I was like, we're out of here. Let's go. We're done.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess around with that either. Like that. There's something about it, and we'll get into technology because that's what the Ring movie really is about. We're also going to talk about Talk to Me. It's a movie. Yes. This movie's so wild that basically, like, it'll have you on your couch searching Facebook Marketplace for ceramic hands at 3 a.m. in the morning. Believe me, they're out there. I have done this. They're out there. But it will. I looked at these two movies and I was like, what's the tie-in here? And it was two haunted objects, right?
Yes and no.
Okay, and we'll get to that.
I have a lot of things to say about that.
I also found another through thread, and that is the fact that one of them is 7 days to die, and the other one's about 90 seconds and you're done, right?
I mean, there's a time limit. Yeah, don't go past it.
So let's start off, though. Let's get to The Ring. Now, I will tell you this. I goofed up on this because I watched Ringu, the Japanese version.
Oh, yeah.
And I was prepared to talk about that one, which I think we should talk about it in comparison as well with The Ring, because The Ring would not be there without Ringu. And right. I think Ringu really launched J-horror, the genre itself.
They know how to do it. I'm not gonna lie. The movies that came out, and this was kind of the first of many that were remade like The Grudge, Dark
Yes.
Water. And The Grudge was another one that really got to me.
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved horror movies. I saw scary movies all the time, high school, all that. I was way into it. But when I saw The Grudge in college, I was like, it messed with me.
Oh, all of these movies did, and it's because the J horror genre has its own kind of traits, tropes, if you want to call it that, and we weren't used to this. The Americans weren't used to this. Nothing. I
Yeah.
don't think the rest of the world really was. Ringu basically came out, and the West said, "Oh, you know what? We can Americanize that," and they made The Ring, and that's what happened. And it was in 2002, so about a 4-year span. But there are similar traits across all J horror movies. Psychological dread over gore.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a lot of gore. It's kind of
Yep.
in the background.
Yes.
Minimalism, quiet pacing. The sound design sets the atmosphere. It's eerie. You got unresolved trauma all over the place. It makes you sitting there at home be on edge because you're like, this needs to. This here's a big one. Tech paranoia. In the late 90s, when technology was coming around, it was a high anxiety in Japan. They were afraid of the technology, the internet, emails, and all of this stuff going around. And look at what we're doing now, 20 plus years later. We got AI. This is not going anywhere. The anxiety of technology is still very relevant, if not more now than ever. So,
for good reason.
Tapes, websites like the movie Pulse, cell phone curses, all this stuff, that was Japanese J horror.
Yeah, and a little throwback too, because we talked about Poltergeist.
Oh yeah,
in the other episode, and I just remembered that they were throwing out TVs. The little boy was like, "Why can't we have a TV? I want a TV." And the parents were like, "No TVs. We're not doing TVs."
Exactly. So
in Poltergeist 2, because of what happened in Poltergeist 1, obviously the TV turning to snow, like. It's just interesting to see that comparison, that there's both, a little fear of what can come through a television set.
Well, and then J horror does go back, and I'm going to bore people out there because I will go through the history of it. J horror really comes from No and Kabuki theater. Like it does. Like you got No, which is formal poetic, and then Kabuki, which was the flashy stuff. It was, the Kabuki mask, but it was full of vengeful spirits, supernatural revenge plots. Those masks and the creepy movements and all that. You saw that later. Straight up. That was prototype J horror and Kabuki. Yeah. Then you had some of the Japanese horror films in the 90s that all got lost. Like, it really did. Those films are gone. They don't know where they are. Got lost during the war, maybe after the war. They kind of reflected what happened with Ghost, disfigurement, and then later the kaiju. You know who the kaiju are? Godzilla. Like, that was still part of J horror. And then in the 90s is when the tech anxiety spiraled out of control. You got haunted VHS tapes, the internet, urban legends. This was an urban legend in Japan already going around before the movie was made.
Right.
That there was a haunted videotape that you would die in 7 days if you watched it. So there was already this crazy level of anxiety. Then this movie drops. The Ringu and The Ring, let's just put them together, even though it was a short span between each other. But
yeah.
Now, after that, after The Ring dropped and brought J horror to the West, every studio out there wanted a long-haired ghost, like creepy, like you came in to this episode with. So that was my long spiel on some J horror history. I did my research, see?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and I didn't watch Ringu, but there was some differences in plot and things like that when they remade it, I had heard. So
I'll tell you, like the biggest differences are it's slow. It's a slow burn. It's dreadful the whole time. The Ring was kind of the Hollywood-fied version with more jump scares and stuff. There's not so much of that in the original, but us Americans, we gotta have that kind of stuff. But
yeah, you're waiting for it. Even in the first opening scene, I kept imagining, because when a horror movie shows you a background doorway, I'm always expecting something, because I'm like, someone's just gonna walk past the door or something. But you can tell when in the foreground the main character's there, but there's like a hallway back here or a door.
I also think one of the biggest differences is, both of the movies are very bleak. Like you're not getting a happy, But Ringu really leans into the idea that the viral curse is a metaphor for technology, and it can spread like a disease. That's more of what it was. It was like a playing into that real life technological anxiety or whatever you want to call it that was going around at the time. So that's the major differences in the two movies. But let's really talk about The Ring, because
Yeah. Yeah, there was a
that's
throwback to the Japanese culture with the tree
yes,
that you keep seeing on the mountain, which is a Japanese maple or cade tree. The one that they made in the movie is not a real tree. They made it with wire and silk leaves. They nicknamed it Lucille, the
yeah,
Lucille ball.
I love that.
But it looks like the leaves are really red, really scorched kind of a color. But I love that the fruit of that tree is called Samara.
Yes, which is
So cool.
one of the names of a character as well. Samara. I like that name. That's a great name.
It is a great name. I wonder if there was like either an uptick of that name or more people were like, no to that name after this movie came out. They're like, nope, nope, not that name.
So that's a
Any name.
Japanese maple tree? Is that what that is?
Yeah, Japanese maple is called a Kada tree. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but
It's okay.
Kaede. Kade tree. Yeah, beautiful though. I mean, the red leaves. Oh,
Might put one of
created
those in
that.
my yard. You think the Daybreak HOA would have a problem if I put a couple of those up in my yard?
Oh, not at all. I don't think so. No. I think anybody who's maybe a film buff would look out their window and be a little creeped out.
They
But
might, especially around Halloween.
it's a
We
beautiful
love
tree.
Halloween around here, though. So that would be.
You should do a ring house.
Now we're on to an idea, but now we're on to an idea that I think we could do that. I think we could do that. But let's talk about the ring because we still haven't.
Yeah. Okay, so I was sitting there analyzing when I was in that video store and the TVs all went to snow. And I remember actually saying these words. Now, I haven't seen this movie since high school until now, watching it again. But I remember it really sticking with me, like more so than most horror movies. I was like, this is really like, it's one of those I went home and was like, I can't go to bed alone. I'm a little, I was too freaked out. And I was analyzing why.
Yeah.
What is it about this movie that makes it different? I think you're right when it comes to psychological, because I figured out that it was so many different images in that were included in it that really weren't that connected, other than the storyline connected them. But like in Samara's video with there was the lighthouse, there was the ladder, there's the bugs, there's the chair, the lone chair.
I love
just
the
like
chair.
weird imagery. But these are things you would absolutely come across in everyday life. At any point, you could be walking along and just a fly will be buzzing around you or something. And I think that's what made it so creepy, was that like in any moment, you could be confronted with something from this movie.
Yeah. I like how you said that there was a plot, because there wasn't really a plot. Like, basically, reporter lady Naomi Watts finds a cursed videotape, you watch it, you die in 7 days.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? But
yeah,
it did scare the bejesus out of America in 2002, and I think it's because of Gore Verbinski, the director. Like, I think he even said in an interview, I think at some point, that he wanted this to be like a dream you can't wake up from.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished, right?
Right. It also kind of reminds me of one of those movies where someone is solving their own murder.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow. Because it feels like she knows she's going to die in 7 days now. I mean, she got it wrapped around her head that like, oh, this might actually be real. This is something that's actually going to happen. And I think she doesn't quite believe it when she shows the video to, what was his name? The fella. The guy. I have it pulled up in front of me. I want to say Aiden, but that's the little boy's name. But yeah, when she shows it to him, you can tell she's like, look, I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if I should show it to you. I kind of feel like this is the wrong thing to do. And he's like, what harm could it do? You don't really believe there's anything to this, right? And then he ends up watching it. Noah. There it is. The guy, the fella.
The guy, the fella. I like it.
Yeah, so she figures out that like this is actually going to happen. Like I might actually die in 7 days. Like, but I was surprised at how fast it moves. I didn't remember it moving that fast because I was watching it and going, wait, we're already on day 4?
Oh, yeah, see? You watch.
She's got like 3 days left.
You watch Ringu and it's a little slower. That's what I'm saying. There's the differences there. the opening scene, that sleepover death.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That,
I mean,
I
that's
mean,
like everybody's nightmare.
really, that scene set the tone for every J horror remake after that. Like it really did. You got
Ugh.
who was it? Becca and Katie. Becca and
Yes.
Katie, right there.
Yes.
They're talking about the urban legends. They're doing it. One of them,
Yeah.
Katie's the one that admits she saw the tape, and then shit gets real.
Yeah. I mean, the conversation between the two is very much like two girls on a sleepover. It's like one trying to scare the other, but then it's like, ha ha ha, just kidding. And they're laughing. So you kind of get the sense of like, well, is she taking it seriously?
Yeah,
Is she actually afraid? Or does she think this is all just like a funny joke? You're not really sure.
I wouldn't like that joke.
Yeah, I
I,
know. I'd be the one at the sleepover being like, you guys, be serious, okay? Are you serious?
yeah,
Is this
I'd be that one that's starting to get the sniffles and Mom, I don't
my
feel
mom
good,
says I have to
Mom.
go home.
That's not the kind of sleepovers I would want to go to. That's for sure. But you got that crazy the closet corpse reveal, and that's like one of
That
the most shocking jump scares, at
yes.
least in the early 2000s for horror movies. Like that was a big one.
They show it in like a flashback as the mom is telling the story about finding her and saying something like, you should have seen the look on her face.
Yeah,
And then shows her in the closet. And I mean, I think that is what like stuck with me. When I walked away from the theater, when I walked away and went to bed that night
oh,
after seeing it for the first time, I remember just being like, that's the image that I can't get out of my head.
I think the image I got in my head was the whale scene. I couldn't get that one out of my head. Like when Samara was crawling out of the TV.
Yes. Yes.
It was just
See, and I might have watched it through my fingers maybe the first time or the first few times. I don't know. But this time I was watching it straight on and I find humor to alleviate some of the fear, some of the scary. So I find things that are like funny about it or wrong or silly. And I said to my husband as we're watching it, I'm like, oh, look, her hair made it out of the well first.
yeah.
Look, her hair like is coming out and then her hands.
Do you know? I could tell you why that is.
Okay.
They used a mix of practical effects and digital blend right here. And basically, what you are seeing is in reverse.
That makes sense. Okay, because she's coming back into the well and her hair was probably out like this.
Yep. So what they would have done would they soaked her in the water and the gown and all that, and then the way that she would have done it, they reversed the footage.
Ooh, yeah, that probably gives a little bit more of a glitchy, freaky effect
Well,
to
it
the
did.
way
It,
her
make, it
movement.
makes the unnatural movements. Yeah, it makes it
Yeah.
look unnatural, and that's what it was. It was just a cheap trick of reversing the footage, and it made it look.
Now it makes sense why her hair, because I said I'm like, oh, look, her hair made it out first.
Yeah. But that tape sequence though, it's wild. Like you watching that movie. I felt like I watched a cursed video. Like you sit there, you're like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
7 days.
Yeah, it does give you the sense like you're like, oh my gosh, should I be watching this? Because you're looking at these characters in the film going, you stupid person, if it's a cursed tape and if someone dies in 7 days, why are you watching it?
Yeah.
Don't watch it. But then you're sitting in a theater watching this.
And it makes you feel, it's unsettling. Also,
Yeah.
it was one of the first movies that would have had that sort of video thing added into it that seems out of place. It doesn't seem edited. We're not used to that as Americans at the time. We're not used to seeing something so raw, per se.
Yeah.
Blair Witch, we just saw that a couple years ago at the time.
Yeah.
This was a little bit different because it was this VHS tape that you put in, and even in the movie, it wasn't edited. So it was like this, almost like you felt like you got sucked into the movie for a moment. Like it was a great way to, hook the viewer.
Yeah.
Make me anxious when I got home. How many days do I have left?
Unsettling. Yeah. Because of the way the movie ended, too. Which is like the Naomi Watts character, which she was not well known when they put her in this movie thinking they wanted an actress who was not as well known. But then she had made movies during the release of this movie that made her more well known. So she ended up being more of an A-list actress. But at the end, she's realizing, why me? Why did I get saved from not dying on my 7th day? she's like, what, why was it, why didn't I? And then realizing she made a copy, which is what this entity,
Yeah.
I hesitate to say ghost, but this entity of a little girl wanted her imagery out there. She wanted more people to watch it, more people to be cursed. And so she realizing she has to play into that game if she's going to save her son. And it ends with like that unsettling. I love you said unsettling. It's so unsettling. The little boy Aiden's like, well, what happens if other people watch this? And she's like, we just did. The audience is like, wait.
Cue the Ring 2 and all the sequels that follow after that. So Naomi Watts, though, she just came off of Mulholland Drive was what she had made. And that's what boosted her into the,
Yeah.
So that's what led her to this role. Do you know who the first choices were for this, or who was considered?
No.
Could you see a Gwyneth Paltrow playing this role?
Yes.
How about a Jennifer Connelly?
Jennifer Connelly would be a very different vibe.
They were both considered.
She's done a great job.
Jennifer Connelly bailed because she didn't want to play a bad mom.
Yes. And that's another thing I loved about the character of Rachel. She's flawed. In fact, when I was watching it this time, remembering back to when I watched it 20 years ago, I was thinking to myself, I kind of remember her being the aunt of the boy. I didn't realize she was actually his mother. And maybe that's because I was like, an actual mom wouldn't forget her son at school and like be so kind of flippant about not really being around. And I don't know, I got it in my head that maybe like his mother had died and she was raising him or something. But then I'm watching it this time and going, oh no, wait, she's his actual mother. I can see now that this is a flawed character.
Is that
no
a writing
judgment
problem, you think?
No judgment there. I mean, she's just a mom trying to make a career, single mom.
Yeah.
But
do you think that was a writer's issue, that they might have fumbled that a little bit?
That's a good question. I don't know if it was a fumble the writers. I just think that it was my memory, my faulty memory, not realizing that I mean, you realize as the storyline goes on, you discover that Noah is his father, and then it's like these two had a relationship. So I'm not sure if it was writing or just it wasn't made super clear that there was more of a connection than we were seeing. Because you just get the idea that like Rachel and Noah, they just have this professional connection. And then you're like, oh wait, maybe he's the boy's father.
Maybe it all goes back to the point that there is no plot.
Make a great point.
Dead in 7 days, and that's the whole movie. Like that's literally it. But it did, like it set such a precedent for what came after that. There's still elements of this in films today. Like there are.
Yeah.
Lots of inspiration came from. I love when we pinpoint like one. I love when you can pinpoint one movie across time, basically, and say that was a turning point. There's a lot that came after that was because of that. Because it doesn't happen that often. Millions of movies out there, and that's a handful that will do that. And The Ring, I guess, you know what? I'm getting into my final thoughts. The Ring is that movie. It's one of those movies, one of those handfuls that really set the tone for an entire genre. Like, not just this subgenre of J-horror, but that elevated to its top horror. Like, it's a horror movie. This is what horror is. If it's nightmare fuel to me as a grown man, like, yeah, it's gonna. It hits.
Yes,
it hits.
Yeah. Well, I just want to point out, as we were talking about the paranormal definitions, you chose these two movies for this episode. We wanted to talk about haunted objects, and I want to point out that usually haunted objects, when we talk about, Annabelle the doll, or there's a lot of haunted objects, even haunted houses, because the object itself was somehow important to the person that died.
Oh, okay.
So like you could purchase a necklace from an antique shop, for example. And I know I follow people on Instagram, but they check to make sure that there isn't some kind of spiritual entity attached to this necklace that they bought. And sometimes there is. So I want to say that this is maybe less a haunted object, but the projected thermography they talk about in this movie, It's not that Samara has a connection with videotapes, because there weren't videotapes, I don't think, when she was alive. The timeline is a little sketchy because we have Brian Cox playing the father, and he's still alive. He's older now.
Yep.
But then the mother was wearing like very Victorian era outfit in the flashbacks. I'm a little bit unsure of like the timeline. I'm like, so wait, hold on. Richard is still alive. I don't know. But throwback to Brian Cox, because he was in Autopsy of Jane Doe we did last year. So I just wanted to just throw that out there.
Love that one. Don't get me. I am so angry still that we didn't screen the Autopsy of Jane Doe during the Witch movie project. Don't get.
Yeah.
Now
you know what? We can always do a redo, go back to that. But I love playing 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon. So I have to do this little 6 Degrees to movies we've done before. And so we have Brian Cox again. Great performance. Love it. He was great in this movie, even for his small role.
Yeah.
But really what we have here, instead of a haunted object, is projected images onto photography or film in this case. So it's Samara's like dark psychic abilities that imprint images, not just on videotapes, but into people's minds, which is why, you know, the girl Katie and then the boy Aiden and then Rachel herself, they're like, are you seeing things? Seeing these images? And again, that intuition of the little boy we talked about last episode, he must have some kind of ability to connect with Samara more than everyone else, because he was the only one that figured out, wait, we're not supposed to be helping this girl.
Yeah.
The scene where he's like, wait, hold on. You helped her?
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to help her. That was, I think, the like epitome of the terror in the movie is when that moment happened. Because you think, oh, good. They released the girl's spirit in the well and she's going back. You know, she can go to the light or whatever. And then Rachel wakes up and Aiden's like, wait a minute. You helped her? You weren't supposed to help her. You know, he was like, and then he has the burn mark on his arm and she's like, oh, wait, the terror's not over.
It's a lot going on. Like, it really is. And that will stick with you. Like, it's one of those movies that really, you leave with something. Like, you feel like you leave with something, right?
Yes.
Samara,
for sure.
Samara, Davy Chase. We haven't said her name. Davy Chase. She actually, check out this range. She played Samara, and in the same year, she voiced Lilo in Lilo and Stitch.
Ooh,
that's
interesting.
Range.
Yeah.
Some crazy range.
So I just have to point this out. I don't know why, but I started doing deep dives into all of these characters.
Yeah.
Into these people. So you know the store clerk that Noah's character sees when he's buying cigarettes and she's like, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, what? And she's like, yeah, those cigarettes will kill you. So I don't know why, but I just loved her. She has this like one little itty bitty part. And I did a deep dive looking into her. She, as far as I can tell, that's one of the only movie roles she did. She may have had others, but her IMDb is like, that's really it. And her name is Joanna Lynn Black. She is now an attorney in Washington. And the little boy who played Aiden, David Dorfman, he did some more movies. He ended up doing some really interesting other kind of scary movies here and there. But he is now an attorney as well. I don't know why I wanted to know that, but I was rabbit holing all over the place. And I was like, well, I guess everybody went on to be attorneys after this movie.
I wonder if one's a prosecutor and the other's a defender. And it's...
No, yeah.
Why don't you see if you can get in touch with Joanne? Was it a Joanne?
Joanne Lynn Black.
Hey, yes. Let's get her on the show. Let's get her on here for a 2-minute. Just hit her up.
Yeah, I'll just tell her performance really impacted me. I just loved her line. You're gonna die.
She may. We could set that up. It may revive her acting career. You might get her excited and say, you know what?
You should get back into it. It was a performance of a lifetime.
It really was. It really was.
All right. That was me for The Ring. So again, not totally sure we can call it a haunted object, but definitely cursed, I would say.
Now, what about this next movie? This next movie, talk to me. Is that a haunted object just off the top?
Okay, so in comparison, I would call this a portal.
Ooh.
More than a haunted object.
All right, here we go. Here we
The
go.
hand is opening a portal. And the reason why I say so is because, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it, so pause, go see Talk to Me, and then we're going to talk about it. But because it's not one spirit that is connected to this hand that they're using, it's not that they will connect to one spirit every time, that the spirit is connected to the object, but that it creates a portal opening for spirits to interact with the living.
We're talking about Talk to Me. So we're just going to get right into it.
Let's do it.
The plot of this one, there is a plot. It's a bunch of Aussie teens find a ceramic hand that lets you talk to the dead. You grab it, say, talk to me, you get possessed. You say, I let you in. I'm afraid to even say it. You say, I let you in, you're basically an Uber for ghost. And if you don't
so talk to me sounds like the word for opening the portal so that you have access to the spirit. But let me in is like, use my body, like, come on in.
Like I said, Uber. This is my best analogy I can think of is you get in there and it's an Uber, and if you don't get out in 90 seconds, congratulations, you're permanently an Airbnb because you're there, right? Like that's the only analogy I can think of outside.
Yeah. Now they're with you. Now they're like, they've got hold of you. Yeah.
And this is demons. These are demons, right?
Well, that's not made entirely clear because when she's talking to spirits, I mean, it kind of depends on your belief system and classification of demons versus, like, is it the Catholicism version of demons or is it spirits? Because a lot of people, demons and angels are a completely different thing than spirits that once inhabited a body and lived a life. But for her to be able to connect with her mother, Mia's mother has passed away, and part of the plot is that she believes she's speaking to her mother. But then as you find out, there are clues that let you know that this isn't actually her mother, that they, whoever the they are, can imitate spirits that you know, right? So, but then in the very end, is Mia a spirit? So there's a lot of like, what's really going on here? Or maybe the writers were like, we're not going to make it super clear. We're just going to go with it and it'll be what it is. And people can interpret it however they want.
And I'm going to go with that route because this is an A24 movie. I love A24. And it was from Danny and Michael, what is it, Philippou? I'm not sure about the last name, but they were Raka on YouTube. They made insane videos on YouTube. That's where they learned how to make film. They made this movie, and I'm not sure, not 100% sure, but I'm going to say they left it vague and up to interpretation of the viewer. That's more fun to me. I don't want to be told all the time. I don't want to know.
Yeah. You know? Could be a little of this, a little of that. And when it comes to spiritual and the paranormal, it's not that anybody has a set certainty and idea of what's what. It's just, here's what we experience. Here's what we know about it. And then, it's all speculation. So
I even think that they left it vague enough without the plot holes that other movies would maybe have. Like you mentioned The Ring. There was a bunch of maybe plot holes. Honestly, if there was a plot, Talk to Me, the plot holes seem to be filled, but the vague and ambiguity is still there because, like, okay, where'd the hand come from? They go through that in the movie.
Not totally sure, And
you're still not sure where it is, but it was covered. You don't have that plot hole in your head as a viewer. You're not thinking, oh, well, why the fuck did nobody ask where the hand came from? They did.
Yeah, it's always like somebody from somebody from somebody. This person got it from so-and-so, and it's going to be very vague. But I will say there's a lot of folklore about embalmed severed hands from the UK. I love researching this kind of stuff. And it was said that if you kept like the severed hand or embalmed hand of a thief in your inn or tavern or pub, that it would deter thieves from stealing from you. But then it also was imbued with magic. Like you could use the hand. Sometimes thieves would actually use an embalmed hand to use magic to make everybody go to sleep at night so that they could go in and steal. Like it was good luck for thieves to have a severed hand. So there's all kinds of folklore and magic considered with them. But I love that this hand was supposedly from a medium or a psychic who can speak to the dead, which makes sense because that's what the magic of this hand can do.
Here's the hand. Yeah. Now
And
I
I
found it.
tried to look at it.
I found it.
Oh, you
A24's
yeah.
website sells this hand, and if you look at it real close, I'm gonna have to
Oh,
get
they
one.
have the markings.
It does.
Yeah.
And if
I
you
was
keep
trying to zoom
scrolling,
in.
and then look at this part here, I'm fascinated now because now right there,
What is
I
that?
can tell you what that is. You pack a bowl in there and you smoke out of that finger. I'm not
Of
kidding.
course.
They don't.
Of
They don't.
course it is.
They don't. Look right here on this. There's the index finger, and it's got a hole on that.
I see.
Now they
Okay.
don't actually.
So they're just asking people to engage with the same kind of parties that you're seeing in this movie. Which
Exactly.
is, again, it's kind of like when we talked about The Ring, that the original purpose of it was to kind of deter people from technology, like to warn you, to make you feel a little wary or uncomfortable with new technology. This movie's premise was like kind of a warning about drug use and partying and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. I mean, a lot of horror movies are used in that way in the past, which is like the couple that has sex, usually like the teenagers having sex, are going to get killed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that like ethical or moral warning, right?
I'll go even further and say that their drug or addiction was being an influence, being social media, being seen.
Yeah.
That was their drug. That was
Yes, because you sense that desperation from Mia, the character. She's like, I'll do it.
yes.
And she keeps watching their videos on social media. And I mean, you can tell she's kind of like, ooh, I want to be one of the ones that gets filmed and gets
Exactly.
shared and gets clout, right?
Clout. That's the one. That's what they're all after. It's not the drugs, not the alcohol. It's the clout. They want that clout. But it does become not about clout for Mia. You know, she's hooked in there. But the opening party scene, before all that, that thing sets the tone for the whole movie. You're like, oh shit, this ain't your grandma's seance, you know, like this is the knife in the eye and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, right out the bat. And I thought the brother was dead. You know, come to find out later in the movie, they have to go find him and ask him questions about what's going on. I mean, could you imagine? Which, by the way, I just have to point out something funny about that is the teenagers. You know, they're in trouble. They've gotten in too deep. They've got to try to figure out how to undo what they've done. So they're like, let's go find Duckett's brother.
Yeah.
Right? How did they know he was at the bus station? That was one thing I laughed about because I'm like, where is Cole? I don't know. He's probably waiting for the bus right now. Let's go meet him there.
Maybe it was that kid intuition. That psychic ability of kids in the movies.
I was laughing. It's fine. We're just, suspend belief a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta say that
Yeah.
some of the scenes are fun. You feel like you're part of the party. Like you're one scene where it's all of them doing it and they're having fun. You're like, I could do this. Like, yeah, sure. You know, I don't know if that's the.
So when you were in high school or maybe college, young adult, which character do you feel like you would have been in this party scene where the teenagers are all at the house and they're all getting possessed by demons or whatever?
That's a good question. Probably, who was the guy filming it all?
Yeah.
Maybe me.
Yeah. Joss, I think is.
I think it was.
Yeah.
That would probably be me. What about you? Who would you be?
Oh my gosh. I'm the friend Jade.
Yeah.
Is that her name? Yeah, Jade. I'm Jade. And I'm the one who's like, this is uncomfortable. I don't think my mom would like me doing this. And everybody would be like, you are so lame. And I'm like, yeah, I'm lame.
And he would just be
I 100% would rather be lame than doing whatever the fuck this is.
So you weren't the kid at the parties in high school who was influenced by the alcohol and the cigarettes all around you.
No, that would have made me so uncomfortable. In fact, I had to pause the movie and ask my husband, because we're talking about we're high school sweethearts. We were hanging out during all that time, and I said, this kid Haley, right? They're like the pusher.
Mm.
They're the kind of a dickhead, making everybody feel bad if they don't do it. They're like, this is so funny. Always laughing at the person who's doing something that, is really embarrassing to them, like filming it and laughing at them. And I was like, who is this? I mean, we could pinpoint somebody in high school who's that kid, right? They think they're so cool. They're like, you're lucky to have me at your house. And like, I'm so cool that just you associating with me is giving you clout. Like that kind of kid.
Yeah. We could name everybody in that movie. with somebody that we know from our own high schools or college, whatever. That's
They
funny
always
you
were the
say that.
ones packing with all the stuff. Like if there was drugs, they have it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That first possession scene. Well, actually, when Mia does, she grabs the hand and
Yeah.
says the magic words. When that spirit pops up, I'm like,
Yeah.
it gets you. Like it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I was
You ever
watching it
use
like this.
minimal CGI? That was mostly just practical effects. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably
So
why
good.
it gets me even more. Cause CGI, you can kind of see, you can kind of tell. You saw that, and you're like, oh man, that's
I tell you what, I'm probably going to have to make my kids watch this movie. Even as scary as it is, when they're old enough, I want to be like, do you notice the peer pressure?
yeah,
As scared as Mia was, right? She first sees that first ghost and she lets go and she's like terrified, like
yeah.
voice shaking, lip quivering. She was like, "What was that?" And they're all laughing at her. They're like, "Yeah, that's it. You know, you got to do it. You got to like I mean, definitely if I had gotten to that point, if I'd been one of the people trying it to see what was this all about, that would be the moment I'd walk away.
Oh
That would
yeah.
be like, "No, I'm not doing this that but I just saw, no, forget it. I don't care what names you call me. I don't care if whatever." But she wants to be a part of this so bad. She gives in, does it again. I'm like, that's peer pressure.
It's
The
all peer pressure.
power. Oh,
There are a lot of underlying themes with this movie, like you said. And Sophie Wilde, that's me.
yes.
Sophie Wilde, she was incredible. Like
Yes. Such a good performance.
she knocked out her audition so well that they had to rewrite parts of the script for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was amazing, came out of nowhere. Like this girl, she makes you feel what she's feeling in the movie. Like you feel
Yeah.
bad
For
all the way. Yeah.
all the subtext in her face. I mean, she has both that. I don't even think you need the scene where Jane's talking to Haley and Haley's like, "Why did you bring her?"
Yeah.
She's so desperate.
Yep.
She's so needy. Look at her talking up your boy over there. And there was that scene to kind of set up her character so that you kind of know like what sort of person is this Mia to her friends and to everybody right now. But I don't even think you needed that to set it up. She does such a good job with her subtext you can tell she's so lonely. She's so afraid of not belonging. Missing her mother after losing her mother 2 years ago. Like you get all of that. Her character is so deep and complex and
She even plays
all the
it
layers.
even well being possessed. Like it's to be able to
Would that
put
be
those,
so fun?
yeah, to put those
If I was an actress,
yeah.
I want to play possessed.
She carried the emotional weight of this whole movie. Like that had to. I wonder what that does to her. I wonder if like we asked if we got to talk to her, if we said, do you still feel trauma from this movie now? Like I think it'd be tough unless it was just a party and they kept it fun on the set, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't always experience all of the horror that the movie is going to be ultimately made into as a cast, as just recording. They probably are just like, hey, we're just having a good time and I just have to act scared and, no big deal. But yeah, I love the writing in the scene where she talks about her nightmare is seeing a mirror.
Yeah.
Looking in a mirror, but not seeing her reflection. That's kind of some foreshadowing of what's going to happen. And it's also a little bit like a look into her character of like, she's afraid of not being seen.
Yeah.
She's not afraid she is not important, significant.
Which goes back to that's the fear of social media clout, not having it. Like they don't have, they're not seen.
I'm not recording myself doing everything. Do I really exist?
Which is very pertinent to today's kids. I guess like that's what's going on out there. There's people out there doing stupid, crazy pranks, getting in trouble, dying, killing others, going to jail. Like there's all kinds of stuff that's not worth that, So I think it is the fear of not having social media clout. And they made another mistake too, is if possession can happen, I would assume that you never use it as a party trick. You don't have possession parties at your house and invite people over. I don't think that's what you do.
Yeah. And they didn't really show us what it was like for the person going through it, because there must have been some psychedelic trip
Yeah,
happening that would make them go, this feels amazing. She talks about it. She says to the little boy, Riley, she's like, oh, it felt so good. It was
yeah,
amazing. So there is like something that they get to experience during it that keeps them coming back and doing it again, obviously, because that Daniel character
yeah.
gets totally humiliated, makes out with a dog, and then you see him later in the scene when they're all partying. He's doing it
He's
again.
ready.
So it's like he must have enjoyed something about it.
Yeah, maybe it's like that ketamine trip where you're just like,
Yeah.
you know,
He's just, you just experience euphoria while the demon possesses your body and does whatever with it. Maybe.
oof. That's kind of what drugs are anyway.
I guess.
You know, like you feel great, but it's tearing you up.
Why anybody would ever want to do it after watching what happens to Riley when things go wrong and
Jesus.
he finally gets to try it.
I've mentioned it before. That scene, the scene in a movie. That's if you say you remember that scene and talk to me, you could probably pick it out, and it is Riley's possession.
Yeah.
Brutal. It's brutal to the point to where you're watching it and you're like, all right, this is gonna stop. All right, this is gonna stop. Like,
Yeah, any minute now.
yeah, you're like, oh, and it just keeps going and going and going. And what we're talking about is he gets possessed and he's bashing his face on the count. Like,
And trying to
no CGI. No CGI here, by the way. That was all prosthetics and just some editing. These guys are amazing. The brothers are amazing for this. Like, it's
yeah,
because and once again,
it's horrific.
that's why it probably has more of an effect on the viewer, is because it is no CGI. It's straight up prosthetics. Let's make it look with some makeup, make it look awful. And they did. They did a great job. And you know what though? And I went out on a campaign last year for Oscar. We were going to get an Oscar for Tony Collette. Remember?
Yes.
We did an Oscar for the kid that played Riley here, Joe Bird. Joe Bird played Riley. This kid was only 15 years old when he did that scene.
That's incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Again, you get that same sense. He also did an excellent job of showing exactly what a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy would be. Like, I want to fit in. I want to be liked. I want to, but there's this, he's torn because he knows like, I like shouldn't smoke a cigarette or I shouldn't do this. But I want to be liked. I want to be cool. I want people to see me.
here's a
So
question.
bad.
Here's a question for you, and this is just real life. But is there? How did I say that? Is there like a difference in the way? I don't know.
Well, we did talk about in Poltergeist how an actual poltergeist, not the way they portray it in the movies, but that an actual poltergeist is more likely to be a force of energy from the living, and that often comes in teenagers, right? They have so much emotional energy going on in their bodies that they can actually physically manipulate the world around them, and poltergeists can sometimes happen because of that. In fact, some hauntings have been traced back to not that it was a haunting of a spirit or a ghost, but it was a teenager living in the house. And it's interesting because if you apply it to this movie, you have all this teenage angst going on where it really is a powerful force to like want to be seen, want to belong, want to
Fit in.
have clout, the social media, the videos, everyone's pulling out their phones and recording what's happening. And you really do get that sense of like that connection there with like what it's like to be a teenager and like the angst that's happening.
It really
As
is.
we talk about that.
Do you think that there's levels of the kind of putting together? How am I trying to say this? I'm about to edit this part out. Peer pressure. Okay. Do you think that the level of peer pressure that it's just peer pressure and it doesn't matter what's on the other side, if it's a cigarette or getting haunted by a demon, it's the same level, right? Like you almost put a wall up. Like as a teenager,
yeah,
you don't think about what's on the other side. It's just you got double dog dared.
right.
Right? Like,
yeah, it can be a little bit of that. I mean, everything that stems from like behaviors or addiction or something that's going to start when you're a teenager, it's not just peer pressure. It's also going to come from, and Mia is a great character for this, it's going to come from that escape. Like she's in torment. her loneliness, her grief over her mother. I mean, you can see she's in emotional turmoil. Anyway, she's depressed. She's not getting along with her dad. She doesn't really connect with him. She doesn't have that family. She's hanging out at her friend's house and with her family because she doesn't really have that. And so you see all this turmoil she's going through. It's partly the peer pressure that gets her to go sit down and say, I'll be possessed by a demon. I'll volunteer for this. But it's also wanting to escape. Like, oh, I got 90 seconds of an escape from my torment and my turmoil. And that can be anything. I mean, we talk about this in a horror movie because it's like possessed by a demon or drugs, either one. But in life, it can literally be an obsessive compulsive need to clean. It can be obsessively going to the gym and working out and obsessing over your body. Any number of addictions exist in anyone at any time, but it's all about, are you able to stay present in the moment? Are you able to process emotional pain? Are you able to actually address it and look at it? And that's where demons have been used simultaneously with our own self-sabotaging behaviors. Addressing your demons, you know, maybe not demons, but demons, right?
Yeah. Open to your interpretation of what the demon is, because like you're saying, yeah, I love that. Let me ask you this. Would you try the hand?
Not if you paid me a large sum of money. And that was my, I don't know, closing thought as the movie was wrapping up. I was saying to, again, my husband, who watches all these movies with me, I'll just be honest, I can't watch them alone.
Yeah.
So we're finishing up this movie and I'm like, don't mess with portals, people. Okay? No matter what you're trying, I would almost rather someone experiment with drugs than open up some kind of spiritual portal. Don't mess with that shit. Don't open portals.
Don't open portals.
Yeah. And I'm not against the Ouija board. The Ouija board is something that can be used as a tool to divination, like tarot or anything else. However, you can, just like anything else, if you don't know how to use it correctly, open a portal. So it's not that the thing is evil. It's not that using it is evil. It's that you have to know what you're doing. So just don't mess with it if you don't know what you're doing.
I think I'd hit it one time at least.
You think so?
Yeah, at least. I'll do everything once, you know? Like, whatever. I'm open.
So let me ask you this question then. Right. If you were trying it and you knew, okay, that the rule was you have to be done 90 seconds and no more, because there's a real danger there. If you knew that, would you sit there with that kid, Haley, being the one who had the timer and trusting those two people that were in this movie to be the ones to pull that hand off of you?
No, I'd probably find me somebody that was in the radio business to sit next to me and get us out at 45 instead of 90. And
yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, these are some teenage idiots. I would never have sat in front of that hand and said, oh, these are the people, these are the jokers that I'm trusting to pull me out of this in 90 seconds. No.
Right. I am open to trying to hand out that A24 sells, though. I could smoke something out of that and see where it takes us. I'm down for that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Dangers of avoiding what we're not ready to face.
To me. I love this movie. I love A24. My final thoughts are this was a must-see. Really is. Yeah. It's another one of those movies that kind of sets a new precedent for stuff. The Michael and Philip, they put out another movie just recently. What's it called? Bring Her Back. Which is another one out there it'll make you think. Like, it's not your typical jump scare, you know, Hollywood blockbuster. Sure, it's a Hollywood movie. It's A24. They're big. They're doing these things, but they still got some of this stuff in it that'll make you go, ooh, you know, like.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's kind of a new era, like horror movies that adapt and evolve to newer generations and audiences. This is kind of like a connecting horror and almost morality.
Yeah.
Like moral and ethical complications with horror.
Kind of both of the movies that we discussed right here, the Ringu even mixed that in, and Talk to Me. It's all of them are exploring the idea of like the curiosity meets death. Like what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like they want to know.
And I'll say the character that I probably associate with most now is Sue, Jade's mother.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be the one who walks around going, you guys having a party tonight?
Yeah.
What's going on?
What time's the party?
Don't smoke anything.
Yeah.
Don't drink anything.
I love when she's
That's
going
me.
around. She's like, so what time's the party? I'm like,
Yeah. She's me.
yeah. I picked up some parenting tips from her. I like that. That's me now. Sue. I'd be Sue. That just no nonsense. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, just tell me.
Yeah. So you sneaking out tonight? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I already know. Just shut the door when you go.
Yeah. Don't wake me up when you get home. Like, that's the kind of thing, you know.
No, I don't even think I could be that lax. I feel like even that was, I'm like, she's going to go to bed and let her teenagers sneak out. I don't know if I can do that.
No.
I don't know.
2 incredible movies. The Ring. Talk to me.
Fantastic.